This is the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. If you're interested in the intersection of real estate, blockchain technology, AI, and more, you've come to the right place. Don't miss your opportunity to attend the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to another Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective meetup. I'm your host, Adam Carswell, joined today by my co-host, Jason Ricks of libertyfund.io. A little bit younger face here joining me here today. Yeah. Michael, excited for you to check out.
That's great hair. Yeah.
The millennials are taking over. Michael, you're not here. I'm growing my beard out. I don't know what's happening. You're gonna have to get a hold of us. Anyways, actually real quick, a plug to Michael Flight, who we're joking about not being here with us today. Michael, the CEO of Liberty Fund and co-host of this meetup, is on his way back from Dubai, where he was at a private family office meeting that just performed fantastic, I think, for the entire conference and then also for Liberty Fund. If you check out any Liberty Fund social media accounts, you'll be able to see kind of what was going on over there. It was amazing. So we actually are going to learn a little bit about what's new and happening at Liberty Fund here today. But the feature presentation, the man who wrote the book on security tokens, that is Mr. Baxter Hines. He's joining us here today. He's going to talk about his new book, and we're really excited to have him. Honored to have such a sharp, smart guy joining us here once again. You know what? I have to say hello. Thank you, everyone who's joining us here live. We really thank you for investing your time with us, and everyone here on the replay too. You're going to get a ton of value out of today's conversation if you can't already see that. And just want to remind you one time here to rate, share, like, subscribe, whatever platform you're tuned in right now. If you're on the Dream Chasers platform, throw me a little subscribe, a little rating there. We'll appreciate it. And yeah, that's enough out of me breaking the ice. I want to flip it over here to Jason Ricks, our co-host, who's going to give us a brief update on what's going on at libertyfund.io. And then, as I mentioned, after Jason, Baxter has a really great presentation for us, and we're going to do Q&A at the end. So, Jason, the microphone is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Thanks again, Baxter, for making the time. Really excited to have you on today. Kind of dig into what you're doing at Honeycomb Digital Investments, and also talk about your new book. I think it's coming out next month. Congratulations. As a fellow author, I wrote one chapter in a book and it was extremely painful. So the fact that you were able to make it all the way through, kudos to you. That's an amazing accomplishment. The name of the book, which is great, I've already kind of pre-ordered my copy, is Digital Finance, Security Tokens, and Unlocking the Real Potential of Blockchain. So really great topic for the show. Thanks again for having us on. I'm a real estate guy. Michael's a real estate guy. So I really am looking forward to kind of hearing not only just about real estate, but how the rest of the financial industry is going to change with this new technology. It's fantastic. I can see so many different applications. I can tell you right now I'm living through one of those painful applications. We are in due diligence for a property in Seattle right now, and it has been a nightmare collecting documents, title, plans, leases, you name it, files missing. This was an older single tenant building, and it's been passed down by the generations. And I just thought to myself, going through the folder today, man, this would be amazing. Eventually, one day, this could be on blockchain to where I can actually see the real true documents, no second guessing. Everything's on the digital ledger. So really looking forward to a time where we can talk about that. A quick disclaimer, Baxter and I are both Texans. So for a lot of people who are not familiar with Texas, you're going to get a lot of y'alls today. So don't be afraid. Make sure you like that. They sneak out of me every once in a while, as Adam probably knows from the years of talking with me. But before we get to Baxter, I really just wanted to give everyone a quick brief update. So the Liberty Real Estate Fund, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I say that it's been quite the journey. It's been years in the making, but we're getting really close, and we're doing all of the pre-launch marketing right now. So as Adam mentioned, Michael was overseas, working in Dubai, having some fun. We shared some really good laughs and some additional photos on the side. Hopefully Adam can share some of those if they're LinkedIn appropriate.
We'll see if we can do that.
Yeah. But he was in Dubai. We had another virtual conference today that I was involved in. So we are full steam ahead. And if anyone's interested, I thought Michael did a phenomenal job on 2 recent podcasts. It's the Cash Flow Ninja podcast, and it's also the Real Estate Guys podcast. So if you get a chance, maybe Adam, you can put a link to that as well. But we've had some really good reception on that, and it's been full steam ahead and a full team effort. So really excited. And with that, Adam, let's kick it off, and can't wait to hear from Baxter.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason. And you're right. We should just pull up a quick picture here to highlight
bring it up.
Michael in his absence. And, we might as well get ready for the screen share on my end today too, guys, because I'm really excited. I get to do Baxter's slide presentation as he presents. That's the first here on the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. So all kinds of new things happening. Here we go. Share my screen. All right. So small little caption here, but I believe this gentleman here to Michael's right is His Highness Sheikh Ahmed bin Faisal Al Qasami. And I haven't been to Dubai yet, so forgive me if I haven't pronounced the name correctly. But this is just a small glimpse of many meetings that Michael was in over the weekend. And I'm sure when he gets back, he'll be able to give us a much more clear description of what took place. I know he said something about he's already getting ready to go back in December. So I take that as a good thing. Real quick though, guys, we got to introduce Baxter. How could we not get to this amazing introduction here yet? So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Hines, the author of Digital Finance, Security Tokens, and Unlocking the Real Potential of Blockchain. Very captivating title. Baxter Hines is a managing partner with Honeycomb Digital Investments. He co-founded the firm in 2020 to provide income-producing solutions for clients, and his firm manages portfolios consisting of traditional assets, security tokens, and digital assets. Mr. Hines was a managing director, portfolio manager, and co-lead of several internationally focused value strategies during his 12 years with NFJ Investment Group, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Allianz Global Investors. Prior to his,
I'm laughing over here because Baxter, we had a JV relationship with Allianz. The German accounting was very unique for me. So come CAM reconciliation time of the year, it was always an exercise. Sorry, Adam, to interrupt.
No, thanks. That kind of helped like break it up. I was getting nervous when I mispronounced it, so thank you.
No, you're good.
Prior to his time with NFJ, Baxter was an analyst with the Teacher Retirement Systems of Texas and worked as a financial systems specialist for Reuters. Baxter holds a bachelor's degree in economics from the University of Virginia, and as we mentioned, an MBA in finance from the University of Texas. His investment philosophy that's right, hook 'em horns. His investment philosophy and market outlook have been profiled in several financial publications, including Barron's and the Wall Street Journal. Mr. Hines holds a Chartered Financial Analyst designation and is a member of the CFA Society of Dallas. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, the author of Digital Finance, Security Tokens, and Unlocking the Real Potential of Blockchain.
Yeah, coming out next month.
That's right.
Pre-order your copy now.
Pre-order now. We get, you know what, Baxter, we'll have either Sam or Jordan or even Jason maybe pull this up while you're speaking. We'll get the pre-order link in the chat. That's enough out of us. We got to get it over to you. So I'm going to just put your screen on here, just introduce yourself. And then when you're ready, we'll get the slides going, Baxter.
Sure. Well, I really appreciate the introduction and especially you all having me here tonight to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is obviously blockchain and its disruption of the financial industry. And I can tell you there are so many things that are going to affect the real estate industry. As Jason mentioned, it's huge. It's exciting in the sense that almost every week I feel like I see another exciting development come out in the space, whether it's, you guys developing one of the first tokenized real estate funds, or probably the first one. There's all kinds of stuff, and we're gonna discuss that all over the next. Try to talk for about 20 minutes and leave time at the end for questioning. I also, before I get started, want to give a big thanks to Michael Flight for everything he's doing to be an ambassador for this digitization in the financial space. He's been a terrific thought leader, and I think it's just great he's gone over to the Middle East and is talking about this. This is truly a global phenomenon. It's every corner of the earth is being impacted by it, and there's development and investment that's really coming out on a whole global scale. So again, that's just one of the many exciting parts about what's going on. Like you said, I do have an upcoming book coming out, Digital Finance, Security Tokens and Unlocking the Real Potential of Blockchain. I'm publishing that with publisher John Wiley and Sons. They're probably the largest of the financial publishers. And really our goal with this is to provide a clear and concise framework on how to think about investments in the digital space. We really want to make it so that readers can uncover how blockchain and distributed ledger technology are disrupting the financial industry and real estate in a non-technical manner that's easy to understand. In the book, we go over really the three big classes of digital assets. That's going to be first cryptocurrencies, which most people are aware of, but most people don't realize there is so much more to blockchain. We are literally just scratching the surface with cryptocurrency. Another thing you may be reading about in the headlines are these digital currencies. Basically, that's a dollar on the blockchain rails. You can deliver payments and other kinds of just exchanging of value through the traditional currencies that we're familiar with, whether it's the US dollar, the euro, the yen, the whatever it might be. Putting it on the blockchain going to reduce all kinds of frictions in the payment space. So that's another focus of the book. And then the third piece, where we spend most of the time, is on security tokens. Again, these regulated assets that are going to, again, be traded on the blockchain, and there's tons that we can do with that. So I will go over that topic in depth, and then obviously leave questions at the end. Before I get started, let me just quickly say that nothing I'm saying here is investment advice. It's all just for educational materials. In the slides that I've given over to Adam and Jason, I've got a disclaimer in the back, and if you all are interested, please reach out to them. Let them know if you're interested in having a copy of those slides. I'm more than happy for them to share those with you. And in that presentation, there's more information on how to contact me. And there's also other kinds of stuff that I think you may find useful, but we don't have time to get to today. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk about what's unfolding, why it's important, and how these technological advancements are going to have widespread ramifications for mainstream assets like stocks, real estate, private securities, bonds, you name it. And I'm going to also put an emphasis on how this trend is creating huge excitement, and how major players in the industry around the world are really starting to adopt this better, faster, cheaper way of doing things. So Adam, if you want to go to slide number 5, that's probably.
Okay, sounds good. And I wasn't sure if we were moving along there, and one of our assistants, I don't know, I'm not sure. Oh, Sam, thank you, Sam, for hopping in here. Sam's going to run the slides for us today, so I'm just going to sit back and enjoy. Thank you, Sam. Baxter, you guys run the show. Let's go.
Well, one of the exciting things about this new blockchain revolution is that it's helping to connect projects with the capital that they need to operate. And if you really think about what a security token is, in the simplest terms, it's really just a digital representation of real ownership in an asset. Just think about one token being all else equal to one share in an asset. That's really all it is. And this digitization of securities is set to be a global megatrend, and it's soon going to be one of the biggest business opportunities worldwide, in my opinion. And as a result, anyone in the financial or the real estate industry, they're going to need to have a broad comprehension of how the technology works, what it can affect, and what consequences this could have for business. And as I said earlier, while most people are aware of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, very few people realize the far greater potential of blockchain. So I applaud all of you for attending tonight, because I think getting ahead of the curve is going to be a real asset for you going forward. And I think, we are, in the early innings of a large secular opportunity to embrace this blockchain technology and bridge both the traditional and digital worlds. Just as we saw in the late 1990s when investors started moving to web-based platforms to obtain better and more up-to-date news flow and cheaper execution of trades, I think so too will we start to see similar moves towards blockchain-based solutions. So blockchain has been around for about 10 years. The cryptocurrencies were the first introduction that we had to this new technology, and it's proven itself to be an incredible means of exchanging value and information. And so we think that this stuff is going to really create all kinds of new ability to complete transactions and open up possibilities to deliver better functionality, scalable, and overall performance. So really exciting stuff that's unfolding here. So if we go to the next slide 6, I'll go over a quick example of as I mentioned earlier, that security tokens, what they do is they provide title to regulated financial instruments combined with the agility and speed of blockchain. And as a result, these tokens are much more tradable and easier to move around because they offer more features and because they have fewer frictions than do their paper-based alternatives. And so what's great about it is, again, anything of value, whether it's real estate, commodities, artwork, intellectual property, just about anything of value can be used to back a security token. And by combining the latest in technology and the potential for automated world-class investor protections, what you can do here is you can embed things like regulatory compliance, consumer servicing, as well as automate all kinds of processes that are going to make for a much better security than what we have now in today's paper-based type of world. And this is going to ultimately drive cost reductions. It's going to create enhanced flexibility around the securities, and it's going to open up all kinds of new opportunities for innovative business models and revenue streams. So we think that is what is really at the heart of what's driving this new adoption of digital-based securities. So let me just go over this example here of a security token that I just bought a few months ago. I was put in touch with a gentleman by the name of Spencer Dinwiddie. He is the starting point guard for the Brooklyn Nets in the NBA, and he is fortunate enough to have a roughly $13.5 million a year contract guaranteed over the next 3 years from an NBA franchise. Spencer, he calls himself a tech guy with a jumper. So he's sort of in his own mind, he's a tech first and a basketball player second. He's thinking about his career even beyond what's going on in the NBA, and he wanted to start some new business models that were really big on fan engagement. And so he thought, why don't I raise some money today to start those businesses? I've got lots of good partners that can do that. What I'll do is I'll issue a blockchain-based bond that's based on my creditworthiness. I've got a multi-million-dollar revenue stream coming from the Nets. Use that to fund the business, and then those bonds can trade on the blockchain. That's exactly what he did. He created the SD26 token that's traded on the Ethereum blockchain. He pays a 5% interest rate that's paid out monthly to his investors. And then what's really exciting about this is that the bonds that I own, or the token that I own, the blockchain itself enforces all the compliance types of aspects and regulatory aspects that Spencer needs to protect himself in issuing a bond like this. So in issuing a Reg D security, which is what he put out, that requires certain things per legal statute. So he can only sell that to accredited investors. That bond has to be locked up and can't be traded for more than a year. There are other things that are in there that protect me, the investor, like he has to keep all of the funds with a trusted custodian, in this case, Paxos Trust. He has escrow amounts that he has to meet. And so all of those things can be managed by the blockchain, which prevent me from transferring that token early before my 1 year lockup. It prevents me from selling it to non-accredited investors. All kinds of safeguards that keep Spencer, legally compliant, and keep me so that I can continue to be assured that I'm going to get my money from Spencer and make good on my investment. I think that this really shows the creativity of what can be done with a security token. I mean, how many people can say that they've invested in an NBA player's sports contract? That's something that's very unique. 5% interest rate may not sound like a lot, but when Delta Airlines bonds are trading at 3%, I don't know. I can sleep a lot better with money coming from the NBA than I could from an industry that's kind of going through hard times right now with the COVID-19. So I think it creates all kinds of new opportunity sets for investors, and also it cuts out all kinds of middlemen that take out all kinds of costs by the issuance costs coming down. That means either Spencer's making more money or I'm making more money from the investment. There's just more to go around, and therefore better overall return. So I think this is a great use case for what is going to unfold in the future. And I think it's very emblematic of what happened sort of with the travel business, with the music business, you name it. Digitization is now coming to the securities business. So I think that is something that is very, very exciting. So maybe head to the next slide. So tokenization is really a phenomenon that is going to overwhelm the financial industry over the coming years. Not only is tokenization something that is going to make a big difference, but also, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to affect payments. You can transfer money so much easier today than you could many years ago. I mean, actually today, I sent roughly $100,000 worth of digital tokens, and I paid about 31 cents to send that money. Now, if I'd sent a wire transfer, it would have cost, I don't know, $25, $30 to do something like that. And my payment was made almost instantaneously. It took about 2 minutes to do it. Whereas if I sent a wire transfer, usually you've got to wait till 6 o'clock in the afternoon for that payment to transfer. Or maybe even you have to wait till the next business day for that to happen. So cheaper and faster. And I would also say, I'm going to make a little bit of a prediction here, that 31 cents that I paid in fees is actually high compared to where I think it's going to be in 2 years' time. I think you're going to get down to literally a fraction of a penny to make those kinds of payments. The other categories where you're seeing tokenization really take a big, make a big move is around store of value. You hear all the time now in the media that people are seeing Bitcoin and crypto as being an alternative to gold. Well, you're also seeing all kinds of instances where commodities are being put onto the blockchain. I think an interesting use case there, the Perth Mint in Western Australia is now offering gold to be stored in its vaults. Basically, one token equals 1 ounce of gold. That token can be traded all around the world. And that if you've got a digital version of that ownership, you can take that to the Perth Mint and redeem that for an ounce of gold on demand. So that makes it a very tradable and very in demand type of asset at this day and time. And then there are other great things that are coming around with tokenization around the internet. The blockchain allows for all kinds of new ways of controlling the data that you have. There's all kinds of stuff in the media today about how when you go on Google or you go on websites, people own your data that you have used to kind of tell people about yourself. With a blockchain, you can control that and decide who gets to know what about you, when they know it. The blockchain is going to really bring back that privacy and that ownership of the data to the individual. So I think that's something that is very, very important as well. So if we could move on to the next slide, slide 8. I've got here a basic diagram of how tokenization works. Basically, you can see over on the left-hand side of the business, you can take any kind of asset, whether it's a financial asset, real estate, or intellectual property, whatever it might be. Basically, what you're doing here is you're taking title to that ownership, and then you're putting it onto the blockchain through a token issuance platform, and then that asset or whatever fraction of it that's represented by the security tokens becomes tradable and trackable on the blockchain. So there are a couple of really famous use cases that have happened. I would mention one that happened in the real estate universe recently. There's a hotel in Aspen, Colorado. It's the St. Regis. It got tokenized. Roughly $19 million got raised. And again, this was something where the private equity firm that did the deal, they were really interested in all of the ability to put compliance and all kinds of safeguards into the token itself, and therefore they could issue it without having to worry about those kinds of burdens. That token now is traded through a company called T0, which is owned by a subsidiary of Overstock.com, if you're familiar with that company. But I think it's a very interesting use case where, again, a trophy type real estate property was put onto the blockchain. Now it's traded. It also issues dividends on a regular basis and trades just like any kind of asset. There are a lot of these single asset REITs and private REITs that need liquidity, or the owners want liquidity. And we think that tokenization is a great way to do that.
I just want to hop in here too, real quick, Baxter. I love this slide, and I think anyone who's tuned in here live or on the replay, wherever you're at, and I think we mentioned if you want a copy of Baxter's presentation, we can get it to you. But this is a great screenshot of really, how it works. I don't know about you guys. I get asked this all the time. How does it work? So thank you, Baxter. This is just a fantastic slide. Please continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to share those with everyone. Let's take a quick look at another just phenomenal part of the potential of blockchain, and that is to include what are called smart contracts. So all of you in the real estate business, I'm sure you are aware that contracts are an essential part of any functioning business. And that's because these contracts, they define legally the ownership rights and obligations between the various parties that are involved. And these agreements provide the parties with a validation of the understanding, terms of exchange, and remedies in the event of non-performance. And ultimately, when a party to a contract does not follow the terms of this agreement, the other party is going to want to try and negotiate that breach and possibly even seek resolution in a court. And anyone who's been involved in one of these types of experiences knows just how costly, time-consuming, and unsettling they can be. And so one of the most useful and powerful capabilities of blockchain is the ability to use what are called smart contracts. These smart contracts, they allow for logic to be programmed on top of transactions. In essence, they are units of computer code that execute a set of commands when certain predefined conditions become true. And so at a basic level, these smart contracts, they can perform calculations, they can store information, or send transactions based on the terms of a contract. And so through a series of if-then statements, these smart contracts become self-executing and self-governing. And I think that can really lead to a lot of potential within the real estate industry. Let me just give you a real world example of a smart contract and how it's put into use. So fortunately, we've got Michael. He's traveling tonight. We'll use him as sort of the use case here. There is a European insurance company called AXA. You might have heard of them. They're a behemoth in the industry. They have developed a product called Fizzy that utilizes the Ethereum blockchain to create an insurance contract for customers that are inconvenienced in the event of a flight delay. And the concept is rather simple. Fizzy's completely automated. Interested clients can visit AXA's website and get a quote after entering their flight details. What you do is you go onto the website, you say, what's your flight number? When are you going to go on to your particular flight? And then it'll give you a quote based on how much premium how much money you would like to recover in the case your flight is delayed by 2 hours or more. So if you think about what's going on with Michael, he's gone over to Dubai. He's got a lot of financial interest locked up in that trip. And let's say for whatever reason he wasn't able to make it, he would be missing all kinds of meetings. He would have all kinds of hotel bills that he's still got to pay, all kinds of flight bills. He can now insure for something like that. And so the way it works is once you get a quote back from AXA, you put up your premium, and then all of a sudden the blockchain starts to take over this insurance contract. And the blockchain will then monitor your flight details and it will check various databases. And if your flight arrives more than 2 hours past when you were scheduled to arrive, it pays you out automatically. And now think about that. In a normal insurance contract, like say with your car, if you get into an accident, the onus is on you to go out and prove that, that the accident happened, to say how much the damages were. You got to take your car to the body shop, all that kind of stuff, get it repaired. In this case, there is no hassling or haggling over this stuff. There are no contracts or police reports or whatever to show. The blockchain is just going to pay you automatically. And so there are lots of ways that can be utilized in real world kinds of business contracts. And, I think that is a very powerful type of use case for the blockchain. So that's something that you're going to see a lot more of in the future. And I think Fizzy's is just a great example of how transparent and easy doing business can be with the use of smart contracts.
Yeah, I completely agree, Baxter. I think it's one of the most undervalued aspects of it. It's probably the most misunderstood as well. And people, sound really smart when they throw out this idea around smart contracts, but they really can't see it kind of working in a real world scenario. So thanks for breaking that down for us. But I completely agree with you. As someone whose life revolves around contracts, anything that can simplify that process and streamline it would save me hours and hours and hours. And just the heartburn associated with deciphering a lot of this material, it would save me, tens of thousands of dollars I can think of right off the top of my head on legal fees. So
right.
Really
thing, and in terms of a financial aspect, the market hates uncertainty. In fact, they reward certainty. And if you have certain ways to guarantee or to facilitate that certainty, the market will pay a premium for it. Or really the way it works is it lowers the cost of capital of doing business. And so I think that's one of the great things about just these security tokens in general, is because they're more liquid, because they're cheaper to do business with, and you have ways to reduce risk and ensure certainty with smart contracts. All of that boils down to cheaper ways of doing business.
Awesome. And we are getting close to the Q&A portion, I would say, of today, Baxter. I know this is like a 30 slide presentation. So teaser for you guys. If you want to see the rest of it, like we said, don't hesitate to reach out. Is there anything here on the presentation you want to cover before we get to Q&A?
No, I would just say real fast, a couple things that I think are going to really make a big difference in the real estate business. The first is it's going to change in a lot of cases the way that assets are held. You've got a lot of big pockets of capital that they are insurance companies or pension plans that have real estate assets on their books, but they're either held at cost or some much lower value than they would like to have them held at, because of the blockchain and being able to bring in all kinds of data and all kinds of observable inputs, as the accounting term goes. You're going to be able to see a lot of assets being marked up at higher levels, being getting technical here, but what's called a level 2 asset as opposed to a level 3 asset. And that's going to really create a lot of allure to some of these private real estate deals that are out there. I would say the other thing that's very interesting is on the financing side, you are seeing the time to market of a mortgage reduce greatly. I'll use the example of a company called Figure Technologies. They are a blockchain-based originator of HELOC loans, home equity lines of credit. If you've ever gone through that process, a HELOC today takes you about 45 days to get from the time you first inquire about it to the time you get the cash in your pocket. Figure has been able to take that from 45 days down to 5 because they're using the blockchain as opposed to the largely paper-based processes that home equity lines of credit are issued on today to facilitate that origination. And so you're going to see that with all kinds of real estate types of loans in the future. I would say the other thing that's interesting is the interoperability of different assets. So thinking about title to a building and the mortgage to a building, those are two different assets, right? But they are interlinked. So like, for example, when you have a mortgage on a property, the building has a lien against it. Well, what if you could have these smart contracts written so that the minute the loan is paid off, it automatically starts to take the liens off of the property. That's basically one asset interacting with another. And again, it reduces the time, effort, and energy it takes to maintain all of these properties. There's all kinds of other things I could go into. You talk about these loans. You can, because of the database nature of the blockchain, you can embed all of the origination documents into the loans themselves. That's very powerful because as a lot of times these loans get securitized and passed from one owner to another, the new owners have no idea a lot of times where the original documents are. And back in the 2008, 2009 financial crisis, when a lot of those loans got foreclosed on, the people that ended up owning the paper that said they owned the rights to those cash flows from the mortgages, when they went to foreclose and to enforce the contractual obligations of those loans, they couldn't produce the paper to show that the loans were good or not. And so there's all kinds of great things that could be done here with the blockchain to make these assets better, faster, and cheaper to manage. Well, let me stop there. Otherwise, I'll be going on all night.
Thank you so much, though. And obviously, there's so much detail yet to even be discussed tonight. I'm going to keep playing this out, guys. This is a teaser. If you want to go deeper, you're going to have the opportunity to reach out to Baxter or any of us after this. And so my main highlight, and then I'm going to pass it over to Jason and anyone else who has questions, please prepare. Feel free to unmute your mic when we do get to that portion, which is coming right up. But just, again, the essence of speed and kind of how you said, I think you used the phrase, the market rewards certainty. Being able to execute faster and know certain things for sure. Any technology that exists that takes that to the next level is always where you want to be. And ladies and gentlemen, we're right here with the man who wrote the book on it, right? So I'll leave it at that. The microphone is now open for anyone who has questions for Baxter.
I guess I can tee us off, Adam, and then I want to leave time for everyone else. Everyone that I'm hearing, whether it be, Paul Tudor Jones and Evolve, some of the larger institutions that are finally coming around on, and again, I don't want to make this totally about cryptocurrencies, but everyone throws out this idea, we're just in the first inning. We're just in the first inning of this. In your opinion, Baxter, what are the main hurdles that you see? Because here's what I see. As a real estate guy, I see these endless opportunities, and I think, why isn't more people excited, involved in this, trying to make a go of it? And I'm just curious to get your thoughts. What do you think is kind of holding it back, or maybe it's not being held back, and it's just taking time for people to understand the lexicon around the blockchain ecosystem?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is it's like the old saying goes, nobody wants to be first to a party, but nobody wants to be last. You've got a lot of people who have come in first and gotten into crypto and some of these other blockchain technologies, and they've been richly rewarded by doing so. Mm-hmm. And you've got other people, like you said, that are out there that are asking, how do I get into this? How do I get into this? And the problem is they just don't know how to do it. And so I think seeing today is there are all of these new technological advancements that have been made in terms of actually developing the infrastructure that allows people to get involved. And so you're at a point right now where a lot of people, you can't call your broker up and say, hey, buy me, X number of Bitcoin, or, how do I custody it, or how do I go about it? But there are some of the brightest minds of Wall Street and Silicon Valley have been dedicating a ton of time, effort, and resources to getting the infrastructure in place that's going to make it much easier for these assets to be tokenized and for people to buy assets in the digital realm. And I think that's just going to increase the demand in an exponential type of way. And that's why, again, I think we're in the early innings, because those products are just coming on the market now.
No, that's perfect. I know we've got some other questions. I'll throw out just one really quick fun one. I'm an allocation nerd. I love reading about investing. You got 5% of your portfolio. Are you going to go gold, or are you going to go Bitcoin, or you go Ethereum? What's your take?
I think the easy way to go in it is start off with Bitcoin. I mean, I think in terms of, it's cheaper to store it. It's easy to transfer, and it's limited in supply. There can only be 21 million Bitcoins ever made. And so it's like, when I was in college, my econ professor, he showed all these supply and demand charts, and he showed one that I remember was It was the supply chain for the University of Michigan's football stakes tickets, and it was kind of horizontal up to I think 110,000 seats, and then it just goes straight vertical because there are a certain number of seats in that football stadium, and the more people that want to sit in there, you start paying more and more for them. And I that you're getting this wave of new investors into Bitcoin, and mathematically and programmatically, you can't change the number of them that are available. So it's fixed supply.
No, that's great. And Adam, I know we've got some questions. I don't want to hog all of this, so feel free to launch away, man.
Yep. You got it, Jason. Thank you. Great questions to kick it off. We have one coming in from Gregory Swank, and that's Baxter. Do you see any limitations to blockchain or smart contracts?
I think the biggest thing right now around smart contracts is you're going to need to see a little bit more regulation come out around them. You may see where governments want to have some kind of a safeguard where you say, if a court orders you to do X, Y, and Z, I don't care what the smart contract says, we want to have a way to override that. It's going to be difficult to get that to be put into full fruition at this point in time. But I do think you may start to see more standards written around how these smart contracts are written, so that there is a potential for a government or somebody to come in and be able to override them if court or whatever legislation prevails that you're making it so that can be trumped. I think that's gonna prevent the big institutions from putting smart contracts into business. They want to first see the regulatory environment ironed out.
Awesome. We can push for about 5 more minutes tops here. So gonna flip it over. We have a question coming in from Sam. Sam, do you want to unmute for this one?
Yeah, sure thing. Baxter, appreciate you taking the time. Again, thank you. My question really is about your experience with the SD26 token. How's your experience been thus far? Any pain points or hurdles you have to overcome to really get in on that offering?
It's funny. There was one issue with the legal documents, and this is kind of actually a plug for these kinds of contracts. So they had me send in my money digitally through these stable coins, again, the dollars on digital rails. And then they said, we're gonna have to actually refund you the money through your bank, because they had to redo some of the documents. And in doing that, we had to pay wire transfer fees back and forth, which was like $50 or something like that each way. So that was the only real problem that I had with it. I get my money every first of the month from Spencer, and no problems on top of that. I can't complain about it at all.
I'm curious, what's his interaction like working with investors? Does he build a personal relationship with you guys now?
I've had a few calls with Spencer ever since he was deciding to do this. He's actually one of the endorsers on my book. So if you go on Amazon and buy a copy, you'll notice on the back that Spencer has read the book and said some nice remarks about it. So I thank him for that. But yeah, he's definitely a businessman through and through. He's if you didn't know he was an NBA player, you'd be shocked to find out. I've had really great experiences with him. He's also started up a company that's going to help other athletes start to put their credit worthiness and build these similar types of tokens. When I talked to him, he said, I've got 25 NBA players that want to do this, and about another 30 guys in the NFL that want to do it. He said, but they just want to make sure that I go through it first, so that they don't say that I'm getting, sued to death. I'm not, having the NBA come by and take away my contract, and I'm not, in any kind of trouble with the SEC. So he's like, I'm going to be the guinea pig. Once this thing goes through, you're going to see a wave of other athletes, tokenizing their revenue streams and their contracts.
That goes with your statement. It's all sectors, all walks of life. No one wants to be first to the party. No one wants to be last. So thank you, Baxter, for being first to the party. We kind of made some like indirect jokes. We would love to eventually have Spencer speak here too. I know Adam Blumberg, a previous guest of ours, did a YouTube video on his contract. So Spencer, if you ever see this, hi, thank you for working with Baxter. We'll leave it at that. Any other questions though, guys? We'll do one more here before we wrap up today.
I'll throw one out there. I'm curious. Right now, I think everyone's crystal ball is a little broken due to COVID and all the other things, election, you name it, stimulus coming out. Do you see, what do you think are the top three, maybe we can say sectors, industries, or professions that you think are going to get the most impacted right away from this new technology?
From the new technology, that's okay. So from a sector standpoint, good question. I mean, I think the banks are really starting to think about this in a big way. You saw an announcement the other day that PayPal is going to start to sell crypto through their
Right.
platform.
Mm-hmm.
You also saw the OCC, which is one of the main regulatory bodies in Washington. They said that all banks could start to custody crypto. I think you're also seeing what I said earlier. When wire transfer payments and are going down to basically zero in terms of their fees, the banks have got to start to react to this. This technology is not going away. They're going to have to, start to, really get on the bandwagon and start figuring out how do they, head this off, because the people that don't adopt the technology, they're going to be, kind of left behind. I would say other things that are going to start to be impacted with this is, any place that's selling a good. I mean, I'd say retail, but it could be really anybody selling a good or service. People don't want to touch cash as much. I mean, I actually,
I'm right there with you. Yeah,
and I had to pay cash at the parking lot. I thought, man, I haven't pulled out a dollar bill in a long time.
Yeah.
So, if you go over to Asia, and maybe I'd love to hear what Michael has to say about the Middle East.
I think you guys are making Michael's stomach churn. He's, he grew up on cash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, old habits die hard. But, when you start realizing the benefits of some of this stuff, that, you can, again, do it cheaper, easier, faster. You don't have to go to the ATMs. People will start to use it more. I mean, I think that payments is going to be a huge issue. And then I think the other thing that I see a big trend in is people in the import-export businesses, that where you're trading goods across borders. Letters of credit and trade finance is really getting disrupted by this blockchain, because again, as I mentioned earlier, the interoperability. You think about sending you're sending rice from India and you're selling it at Costco. There's a supply chain there, and so there's a whole industry around that. You can track the supply chain on the blockchain, but you can also track the payments, and you can monitor how the goods are being moved from person to person, and then guaranteeing the payment there on top of that. So I think those three are ones that come to my mind, but it's going to be so many more places that get touched.
No, that's great, and I'm real big on learning, especially from people that are much smarter than me, and you're definitely in that category. Is there, and I hate to put you on the spot, is there anything that you've come across, maybe it's, and I know I can't wait to read your book, but maybe it is your book, anything like a podcast, maybe a documentary or something else that really stuck out to you that you feel would be a really good one for our listeners to take a look at?
There are a couple podcasts that I go on. I mean, a lot of them are more crypto focused.
Sure.
Adam's podcast, I like that for getting kind of up the learning curve. I mean, I look at different sources, whether it's securities.io or CoinDesk. Telegraph has a lot of great articles. I mean, I said it earlier in this discussion, but I mean, it's like every week or almost every day I see either a new geography that's adopting this stuff in a big way, or a new industry, or a new use case. And a lot of times it's stuff even thought of, but you're starting to really see, in the highest halls of power, whether it's the Fed in Washington, or it's the ECB, or it's the government of Britain, whatever, they're looking to again, streamline and ensure the constant flow of money, constant flow of goods and services. And then, getting this digital payment stuff is going to really be what I think will just be like rocket fuel for investments into this space, because anytime you make a trade one thing for another, you've got to have payments on the other side. And so to take advantage of the blockchain, you've got to be able to, have both sides of that trade so that you can, have limited frictions.
And I'm going to butcher this quote, but I think there's a huge population in the world that is unbanked.
Yep.
They're just completely unbanked, and they can't trust their government. I mean,
right.
Which is a sad place to be. I mean, we're very blessed here in the U.S. But there's so many folks out there. And how do you transfer just a simple currency? What is that?
Exactly.
I think that the opportunities in these emerging markets, it's going to be phenomenal once it catches fire.
And being able to sell securities potentially to a wide swath of geographies very easily. It's a tremendous opportunity. And like you said, being able to get loans, that's a huge new wave, the whole DeFi wave. I don't have time to get into that, but where you can take out loans through the blockchain and collateralize them with these digital assets. It's a tremendous new set of possibilities for a huge portion of the population. And it's a way, again, better, faster, cheaper for people who are already have existing financial services.
No, completely agree. Adam, I think we're running out of time. I feel like I'm hogging this thing up, and I'm gonna keep Baxter. Poor guy he's probably got kids, a family, the whole thing. So I'll let you tie this up on a bow. And thanks again, Baxter. It was great. What a ton of knowledge you just dispelled here. That's phenomenal. And we've got the link for his book under the chat. Maybe we can also post that, Adam, somewhere else on our site, just to get everyone else to have a chance to take a peek at it.
Yep, you got it. And Baxter, any closing remarks?
Again, thank you all for your time. Really had a lot of fun, and feel free to reach out to me, and definitely check out my book. We go into a lot of detail on some of this stuff, but again, we try to keep it so that it's high level, and that you won't go to sleep after reading 2 pages, maybe after one chapter, but it'll get you stuff really well.
Get some coffee in the morning, right? Yeah,
Love it.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today at the Chicago Blockchain Real Estate Collective. Our next meetup will be on Thursday, November 19th. The guest is to be announced at this moment. We were joined today by Baxter Hines, the author of Digital Finance, Security Tokens, and Unlocking the Real Potential of Blockchain. We also like to say the guy who wrote the book on blockchain, the guy who wrote the book on security tokens and kind of blockchain. One more time, thank you for investing your time with us here today. Be sure to subscribe on whichever platform you're tuned into. Please share the content as well if you found it helpful. It really helps a lot with our SEO and overall visibility of the meetup. So thank you one more time for joining us, guys. We will catch you in the next one. Hook 'em horns.
Thanks so much.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, hosted by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Don't forget to sign up for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your feedback really helps increase the visibility of our show, allowing us to reach more listeners like you. If you have someone in mind you would like us to interview, you can go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com and leave a comment.
Hi, this is Adam Carswell, the voice of Liberty. This podcast is solely intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to provide tax, legal, investment, or accounting advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, accounting, or investment advisors before engaging in any transaction or undertaking. Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, which is a part of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit Network. Go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com for more information, free reports, and giveaways with free stuff. Thank you.